candidate's personal life. Are they decent people? Do they advocate fairness? Do they pay tax? I'm not interested in their sexual orientation. It's none of my business, says Anne. Brid.
Well, I do think that Fine Gael probably haven't moved on as much as the general population, and that this might be more an issue for them than it is for the rest of us. But if that's the case, then it's reprehensible if somebody would use their vote against another because of his or her sexuality. But I agree with the last texter very much. This whole leadership contest has been an absolute distraction from very serious issues. And this discussion is probably more of a distraction from very serious issues. Not that I know that there's an argument there. I agree with what Alison said. There is a case there, but nevertheless, the country has moved on. If you went into Cherry Orchard, where 99% of the population voted for same-sex marriage, they wouldn't give a damn who Simon Coveney or whomever else Leo Varadkar was married to or not. What they would care about is where are the homes that they need, where is the equality for people on social welfare, for women who are collecting their pensions, where is the attempts to take all the children that do live in consistent poverty, according to the recent Silk report, out of that poverty. That's what they will be looking for.
And because we have this situation now where the Taoiseach is going to carry on at least until after St Patrick's Day, nothing's going to get done about any of those things that
I heard you saying that earlier on in your Vox Pop. I thought it was extraordinary that a civil servant would say we're not going to present any legislation because nothing will get done until...
Now, they're not attributed comments. They're from commentators in the paper today who said they have spoken to senior civil servants.
Sure, I'm not saying they're attributed to
who don't want to put anything forward.
Can I finish, Robert?
But Noel Whelan said during the week that only 18 pieces of legislation, most of them are just perfunctory matters. The only major one that went through was the housing bill.
There's very serious issues facing us. There was a fire in Mountjoy Square the other night, 3 buildings gutted with 150 people packed into them. A week ago or 2 weeks ago, Cabinteely with 70 people packed into a home, a small home in Rathmines with 20 young girls living in it, internet cafes putting people up on the floor for €10 a night. There is a shocking level of serious issues that have to be dealt with, and we need legislation.
So should you not be saying now, Fine Gael, get on with it, sort out your leadership issues?
We are saying that. We are saying get the hell on with it, what he is like.
Because what we hear a lot of is we're not interested in this conversation about what's going on in Fine Gael. This is, there are so many other issues, and you've outlined some of them there. Should we not be putting pressure on them?
I could keep talking, Claire. There's loads of issues. There's the trolley crisis.
And we know that. But until we sort out this issue, we're not going to get to any of those other matters which are so important.
But that is disgraceful. That is just one party's problem with their leader. It shouldn't hold up the whole Oireachtas in dealing with the crises that we face. And I don't understand why that happens. I don't understand why the whole lot of us have to be distracted because the whole Oireachtas has to be distracted because they cannot decide who they want to have as a leader.
Can she name one piece of legislation that has been held up?
I didn't say that the legislation is being held up. It is being reported.
So name one piece of legislation.
No.
You're a member of the Oireachtas. You're after making a charge.
I name a piece of legislation.
Name one piece of legislation that has been held up.
The medicinal cannabis bill is being held up.
That's not been held up.
It is being held up.
That has not been held up.
We haven't had a date yet for the committee. And there's a big demand for it out there. And we have seen the tragic cases of young children.
That has not been held up. And you know that's not true.
We haven't had a date for the committee level.
The Minister for Health has only recently decided. The Minister for Health has only recently decided there is a thing called pre-legislative scrutiny. You're aware of that. There's also a thing called preparing the heads of a bill. You're aware of that. And there's also a thing called bringing the bill to Cabinet. So that is not true. And if that's the only one that you could come up with, I can tell you actually the Taoiseach has 4 pieces of legislation from the Justice.
On this. You're very defensive.
I'm listening to your rant about something that you absolutely have no evidence to suggest that the Oireachtas has been held up in any way. And this is the count that comes from...
Then why is it in the media that the Oireachtas will be held up until this is sorted out?
You're a member of the Oireachtas. Take your responsibility seriously. Bring your pieces of legislation forward.
I am. I'm bringing forward a piece of legislation to decriminalise abortion next week.
You're coming in with this count that is for some reason that the Oireachtas has been held up, and you have one shred of evidence to suggest that
we think he does protest too much.
Well, Robert Troy, can you referee this one?
Can I just finish this there? Because the opposition...
On the precipice of strike action, the company is having a board meeting on Monday, and they will decide whether to take unilateral action. They say if they don't save 30 million by May, the company's insolvent. The unions have the posters printed and delivered to the depots, so we're in trouble here with this one.
Yeah, this is. I think this is outrageous. It's disgraceful, and it's been painted as if there's no other option other than to penalise the workers who aren't exactly, Lana Walya in their pay, and who have given a huge amount of flexibility and productivity over the years to help the company survive. Now it's all down to them. They've got to save 30 million. Instead of starting at scratch, start at the beginning and look at what's happened to CIE over the years. Since 2009 up to last year, there were consistent cuts in the subvention. Last year it rose again, but it is still not back to through 2009's levels. So CIE, all of the companies.
And the Minister
CIE,
said yesterday it is going back up.
It is going back up, but it's still it's still not near pre-2009 levels. And the subvention is necessary for public transport because it services towns and villages that need its service. There was a wonderful piece done by RTE on Drive Time last Friday where they went into Abbeyfeale and Listowel and all of the little towns that are serviced by a bus route that's going to be cut, Tralee to Limerick. And they did fantastic interviews with the local people about how important this service was to them. And public transport provided by the state is absolutely essential. But the public transport company has been faced both with the cuts to subvention and with the increased seat capacity licensed for by the NTA. The seat capacity from Dublin to Limerick and Dublin to Cork, for example, has been increased by over 100%, which means that the private operators are then reducing their fares in order to compete to get people onto their buses. And they pay much worse pay and conditions for their workers. So what's going on here is drag the CIE workers down to the level of the private operators, who are notorious for paying badly.
So how do we square the circle? Robert, you're the spokesperson.
The Minister for Transport must get involved. That is my point.
He says he's not getting involved.
He says that about every dispute. And I don't know why we have him, because he doesn't, why we even call him a Minister for Transport, because he doesn't seem to have anything to do with it. He said that about Dublin Bus, he said that about Lewis, he's now saying it about Bus Éireann, and there is a problem when the subvention is consistently cut, and it does need to be improved.
Well, I think the Minister and his people across Ireland, it's going to heap additional financial pressure on the company that's in such serious financial situation at the moment. So what we have said, and what a motion has been passed in the Dáil, calling on the Minister to, number one, increase the subvention that's paid through the Department of Social Protection for the free travel, because incidentally that has not been increased since 2010, despite the fact the number of people availing of it has increased.
Robert,
since
there's evidence that the private operators get a bigger subvention. For free travel.
I was coming to that. We had the Department of Social Protection in front of the Oireachtas Committee on Transport.
Give it to you. I mean, the last two contributors are bemoaning the fact that we have competition on the roads. That didn't happen by accident.
That's not what we said. It's the level of licences that the NTA
I didn't bemoan competition. I actually went with it.
Extremely heavy level of licences that the NTA are issuing.
Can I just make one point? The NTA are the statutory agency that are responsible for the issuing of.
Could maybe do with going away on a course on, and I think that sort of thing would really help the matter a lot.
All right, coming up
it's very
after the
serious
break,
because the strike will cripple the public transport system, and a lot of
it
workers will
stay
quiet then.
And it could spread. There could be contagion from other workers in CIE.
The same minister who accused Fianna Fáil of pandering to vested interests. This is in relation to drink driving legislation. We'll talk about that in a minute.
We have a blood alcohol level that's established in law at the moment, and there are penalties in place, as Robert said. I think the biggest issue is in relation to enforcement, and we have seen because of the Garda numbers that dropped.
Can you make your point?
I think there is a problem with the isolation of people in rural Ireland, but there may be a solution to our bus service. Extend it so that you have local minibus services to take people out on social occasions and bring them home again. Right. And Bus Éireann could buy a load of little minibuses.
It'll never make the Dáil floor before the next election anyway.
We're out of time. No, we're totally out of time.